Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. So we're going to do a Sunday morning ink blot. I'm going to use yellow. I heard bronze, but this is kind of a darker brown. And then blue. And then violet. So I'll take a picture of what I dropped. And then I'll come back with a picture of it at the end. And we'll do a whiteboard and I'll show you what I'm seeing. We'll pull some cards and we'll go from there. See you in a bit. All right, everybody. You should be able to see a picture of what I dropped and then what came through. Excuse me. So first off, I'm seeing this portion here as ourself. And then for some reason down here, this reminds me of like I don't know, like a jokester, a trickster type deal energy. We're going to call it an energy. I'm not going to title it as a spirit or entity, but it could be. And if we see ourselves, you know, we are in our sacral, our solar plexus of self-esteem, self authenticity, our creativity, and I feel like this energy down here is trying to ground us with these boots in our shadow, as in drag us back down into our place. Maybe we went through a good bit of healing and we resolved a lot of these self-confidence, we got back our creativity, we're coming into our power, our place. And this energy, which is coming through, as it very well may have followed us for most of our life, you know, it's trying to drag us back down into our shadow, which we could look at it, working out of our ego, working out of emotions, of trauma, of wounds, which obviously would take away our confidence and our creativity because we'd be in a low space. Up top, it reminds me of a crow. Maybe we have a crow spirit trying to warn us about this grounding experience. Pay attention to our thoughts. If we're in a space where we can, hear a crow, or metaphorically hear a crow, and we're having these thoughts that might be limiting our confidence or our self-worth, or we're having conversations in our mind and we hear this crow warning, it is a sign that, hey, pay attention. Here's a crow right there. Pay attention to our thoughts. This trickster energy is trying to get us into our shadow, back down there, to limit us on our growth, our evolution, coming into the self. What do we have here, Spirit? Ace of Swords reversed. Clouded judgment. Naturally. If we've done all this work and we've healed this stuff, and an energy, or we'll just call it an energy, is trying to pull us back into this, it's like this dog barking, confusing state, annoyance, disturbance, trying to disturb us from our path, our expansion, and drag us back into something that we have healed or worked through to limit our expansion. Last judgment, self-evaluation. This is where we have to come back and remember and look, hey, I did go through all this. I did heal this. This isn't a burden I'm carrying anymore. Why is it here? And we can overanalyze that to an extent to say, oh, I guess I didn't heal enough. That's exactly what this little fellow wants. Drag us back down, knock us off your pedestal of evolving. I'm calling it evolving. more than just healing. Or at least that's what keeps coming through, I should say. To be grounded and rooted in the shadow. King of Cups, yeah, to stop us from our inspired pursuits. How could we not? Now we're all confident and creative, and they don't want you there. It is easier to go down than up when we're in a weak place, I should say. So I asked when I was shuffling that last one what these little blue marks are. We are, I'm not sure if I went fully into it, but the crow, the spirit here at the top, is trying to help us and warn us. And I asked what this little blue line was, which could reference that to our throat, or if we want to call it, what is it, indigo, for our third eye. Got creative vision, King of Wands. Trying to send us these little hints or ideas to further our pursuit. And we can knock those right out of the park when they come through, these inspired actions. I shouldn't say actions, these inspired ideas or vision. We can be really excited about it. And then if this little energy does come in and knock us back to, into our shadow, I'm not good enough, I can't do that, I don't know enough. It wins then, of course, and we don't move forward with it. And this happens probably to everyone to an extent, and it happens more than we know, because we'd already be there. We'd already would have experienced it. We would have taken the chance to do this, however big or small it is. What do you got to lose? When we have that self-confidence and that self-esteem, we don't lose anything from failure. We don't view it that way. It doesn't affect us. If we're working out of our shadow and we're in a wounded place, yes, it will affect us. And it'll make it even more scary, or we'll have more resistance to try anything again, whatever it may be, big or small. Whoa, 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 whoa. Not half the deck. I gotta pick that up. I'll be right back. It's obviously clear they want dysfunction, a mess, disturbance. How could they not? The Hermit, introspection. During that space, we can really, I don't know why this word came through, but validate our growth, our expansion. We can go in and be like, you know what, I did heal this. I did work through this. Whatever's coming through isn't mine. Why is this here? We really take ownership of our progress, and not in an arrogant way. It is for our own bank, our own memory bank, to justify is coming through. Is this mine? Is this not mine? So when these types of energies do come through, whether spirit or entity or projections, or if we're a true empath and picking up energies elsewhere, we can justify, is this mine, is this not mine? Which is something I think everyone should work on to an extent, whether you have an extreme ability as the true empath or just in general. It's going to help you mold your true self-worth, your self-esteem, in a way that isn't seeking external validation, which is obviously built on a false foundation. So coming to that place of its true authenticity, it is acceptance, it is understanding, it is self-validating. I wanted to say, what's the name of this energy? Nine of Wands reversed. Vulnerability. We could call it that. It's I wouldn't say it. The way I want to explain this is, let's just use a relationship for an example. If I'm in a wound, I'm going to seek someone out that is that wound, and we're going to match. That's just how it works. If, just for example, like if you just want to sleep with someone, you're going to find someone that just wants, oh, I shouldn't say it that way. Yeah, I should say it that way. You know, you're going to meet your equal, you're going to meet your match. If we want someone that is all these great Prince Charming things, but we're working out of a wound of being in toxic environments and all these things, it'll present itself that way, that face, and then we'll get into it. It'll just be toxic and destructive, injure us more. If we go back to this vulnerability aspect of, yes, I've worked on my self-confidence, I've worked on my self-esteem, I'm in a creative place, and I'm in my authenticity, knocking us down those pegs back into vulnerability, being open to judgment and rejection, that it will pull us back into a shadow, you know, then we are in a more vulnerable state for these energies to affect us more, because we've identified with that. We've taken ownership of that self-image, and that makes us more vulnerable, because we're just going to validate our experience by reintroducing things, people, places, or things into our experience to validate that new self-image that we would create. It is so important to have these walls, and I don't mean walls like rejecting everything. It is our own walls on our own self-worth, our own self-esteem, our confidence, and constantly there'll be attacks on that, whether it's spiritual or just, I mean, everything's spiritual, but just in a person in general, you know, they're going to be threatened by that, and they're going to try to knock you down a peg because you were glowing a different way that they are, into a place of like self-defeat. We will defeat ourselves through our own thoughts. Which we've identified with, and they weren't there before. Sorry about the dog, but it's just how the energy works. King of Cups. Balanced heart. When we balance it in a way that self-acceptance, self-love, nothing can penetrate that. And that's kind of where I was going with these walls of not allowing the external to affect you. I mean, it is difficult when people say mean things and are hurtful, or purposefully try to sabotage your internal foundation, but being okay with seeing that they're working out of a wound and understanding that. Of course, sometimes we want to retaliate, and if that's your place, that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong about going after for that kind of behavior, but taking a step back and seeing it, that, you know, that this isn't me that they're after. It's they're working out of their wound, and it's a totally different perspective. And when we get to, you know, a certain vibration, these things don't affect you anymore. They don't really come into your space. The Empress reversed. Self-focus. Focusing on ourselves. Is this mine? Is this not mine? You know? Where is all these thoughts coming from? I did a message before on projections. Clearly, this energy is doing such a thing, you know? I don't know if I said one last card, but this will be the last card. Four of Swords. Solitude. Being in a place of complete peace and harmony with yourself. They don't want that. This dog does. It probably doesn't know what peace and harmony is. But that's obviously different for everyone. But I think internally it's the same. You know, it may look different on the outside, but inside it is, I would think, what everyone would dream of having. It's complete solitude with self. The shadow, understanding it, seeing it for what it is, and the light side of everything. The perfect molding, yin and yang energy, balancing of everything, coming into wholeness with yourself. I'll leave it there. Sorry for the distractions. I'm sure you're used to it if this message is for you. If it resonated at all, feel free to like, comment, share, or subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.